In the future, society is controlled by eugenics, where most people are created in labs to be perfect. Everyone's genetic information is recorded, with those born in labs called valids and those born naturally called invalids, who are more prone to genetic issues. While genetic discrimination is illegal, employers still use tests to profile people's genes, leading invalids to only get low-level jobs. Vincent, an invalid, meticulously cleans himself to avoid leaving any genetic traces, even using fake urine and blood samples to deceive tests at work. He works at Gattaca Aerospace Corporation, where employees must provide a blood sample for identification. Vincent uses a fake fingertip to pass the test and meticulously cleans any DNA traces from his workstation. Despite his efforts, he's chosen for a space mission, and he secretly leaves genetic material around his desk to frame a valid coworker. Then he places a strand of hair on the comb stored in his desk drawer. Later, Vincent undergoes a substance test to ensure he's clean before the mission. Using his concealed bag, he provides a urine sample, which, when tested, falsely identifies him as Jerome, a valid. After work, Vincent watches another spacecraft departing Earth, and his co-worker Irene congratulates him on his mission selection, noting his consistent attendance at every launch. A flashback reveals Vincent's upbringing. Born naturally, he faced medical scrutiny due to his genetic predisposition to various conditions, limiting his life expectancy to 30 years. His childhood was marked by overprotection, rejection from schools due to insurance concerns, and the favoritism his parents showed towards his genetically engineered brother Anton. Despite warnings about his genetic limitations, Vincent harbored a passion for space and pursued his dream of becoming an astronaut, defying societal expectations. Disheartened by his inability to find employment as predicted by his parents, Vincent experienced a breakthrough during a swim with his brother Anton, unexpectedly surpassing him for the first time. This event marked a turning point, leading Vincent to leave his family behind that evening to pursue his aspirations. Eventually, he secured a janitorial position at Gattaca, where he seized moments alone to observe the daily launches and learn about the routine blood tests conducted on employees. Vincent's determination never waned despite ridicule from his superior, and he maintained a rigorous exercise regimen in his apartment. Seeking a drastic change, he reached out to a black market contact who connected him with the real Jerome, a former athlete rendered paraplegic after an unrecorded accident overseas, making him an invalid. Vincent paid both men to assume Jerome's identity, initiating an extensive transformation process. This involved acquiring contact lenses to match Jerome's eye color, altering his hairstyle, and preparing to navigate potential ID checks unnoticed. Everything hinged on DNA. Vincent underwent painful leg-breaking surgery to match Jerome's height. After moving into Jerome's apartment, Vincent endured recovery, learning Jerome's signature and practicing writing with his non-dominant hand. Vincent's transformation also involved adapting to Jerome's habits and mannerisms, including adopting the name Eugene. Despite meticulous preparation, Vincent's plan almost unraveled when a urine test nearly revealed his alcohol consumption, sparking a heated confrontation with Jerome. However, Vincent ultimately succeeded in assuming Jerome's identity, securing a job at Gattaca based on his IQ. To maintain the facade, Vincent adhered to strict hygiene practices, disposing of any genetic traces and meticulously spreading Jerome's DNA at work. Meanwhile, a murder at Gattaca triggered panic, and Vincent's true identity faced scrutiny as police investigated the crime scene. Vincent, with Jerome's unwitting help, attempted to evade suspicion, but his nerves and physical exertion threatened to expose him. Irene's admiration for Vincent, juxtaposed with her own genetic flaws, highlighted the inherent discrimination in their society. Vincent's anxiety escalated as he grappled with the impending discovery of his true genetic makeup. Despite Jerome's reassurances, Vincent's fear intensified, culminating in a moment of desperation as he confronted the potential consequences of his deception. Vincent and Irene enjoy a piano concert for their first date, where they witness a remarkable performance by a pianist with 12 fingers. Irene explains the complexity of the music, attributing it to the pianist's unique hands. Meanwhile, detectives search for the murderer among invalids in the neighborhood, but find no matches. They extend their investigation to buildings near Gattaca, including Jerome's apartment, where Jerome successfully deflects suspicion by feigning offense at the detective's surprise over his employment. At Gattaca, officers collect trash bags for examination. On their way home, Vincent and Irene encounter police checkpoints and evade suspicion by removing Vincent's contacts and claiming he's been drinking. Irene then leads Vincent to a solar panel center to watch the sunrise, where Vincent's impaired vision causes him to see the light differently. As they leave, Irene notices the change in Vincent's eyes, but he dismisses it as a trick of the light. Later on, detectives link a cup from the office trash to the murder suspect's DNA, suspecting an invalid working in disguise committed the crime to conceal their identity. They return to Gattaca to collect blood samples directly from veins, prompting Vincent to switch his sample with Jerome's to avoid detection. Vincent and Irene enjoy a second date interrupted by police conducting DNA tests on items in the vicinity. Vincent reacts impulsively, assaulting a cop to escape with Irene. While hiding, Vincent kisses Irene to deflect her question about his identity. They end up at Irene's apartment, where they share an intimate moment. The next morning, Vincent hides evidence of his genetic differences before detectives intensify their investigation, comparing Jerome and Vincent's profiles and planning further tests. Irene warns Vincent of the detective's scrutiny using coded language, prompting him to leave Gattaca. Despite Irene's efforts to mislead the detectives, they press her to lead them to Jerome's home. Simultaneously, Vincent warns Jerome about the impending police visit and advises him to act naturally. Jerome abandons his wheelchair and laboriously climbs the stairs to greet Irene and the detective. After letting them in, Jerome returns to his chair and feigns normalcy. He plays his part convincingly, even kissing Irene at Vincent's instruction, to maintain the deception. The detective takes a blood sample from Jerome, but is frustrated when it confirms Jerome's identity. As he prepares to search downstairs, he receives news of the murderer's capture and leaves. Vincent emerges from hiding, revealing himself to Irene, who is hurt to discover the truth. Vincent tries to explain, denying any involvement in the murder, but Irene remains wary and departs. At the police station, it's revealed that the director was the murderer, driven by his desire to protect the Titan mission threatened by the administrator's opposition. Later, Vincent returns to his desk to find the detective, who drops a bombshell. He's Vincent's long-lost brother, Anton. They hadn't recognized each other due to their estrangement since their teenage years, but Anton pieced together the clues during the investigation. Anton accuses Vincent of fraud and wants to arrest him, leading to a heated argument. Vincent challenges Anton, reminding him of their past rivalry. At night, they head to the beach and start swimming, pushing their limits until Anton starts feeling exhausted. Vincent reveals his secret. He never saves energy for the return journey. When Anton begins to drown, Vincent saves him, and they swim back to shore together. Later, Vincent visits Irene and offers her a strand of his hair, symbolizing a farewell as he prepares for his year-long mission. They spend the night together at her place. The next morning, Vincent returns home to find Jerome preparing to leave. Jerome gives Vincent a card to open in space and implies he won't be around when Vincent returns. Vincent goes to Gattaca to prepare for his mission, but faces a new policy requiring a urine sample. Without Jerome's bag, Vincent despairs over his dream's end. However, the compassionate doctor, who also has an invalid child, secretly helps Vincent pass the test. Before leaving, the doctor reveals he knew Vincent's secret due to a subtle habit. At Jerome's apartment, Jerome bids farewell by incinerating his silver medal. Meanwhile, Vincent boards the spaceship and leaves Earth. In space, Vincent opens Jerome's card to find a lock of his hair, symbolizing Jerome's presence in space. Jerome, having ended his life, and Vincent, now in space, symbolically share the journey together despite their physical separation. The movie ends here. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you won't miss any future videos.